What's the difference between being patient and waiting?
Yeah, that's a really good question, man. Honestly, I think the difference might be if you're patient, it makes it seem like you have the control, right? Versus if you're waiting, the control's out of your hands and it's up to someone else and not necessarily something that you are the decision maker. Because like you have that phrase, right? Patiently waiting, right? So I think being patient, right, is your choice, and then waiting is out of your control, not a choice that you can make. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, and I looked this up just now as we're recording.
Oxford?
The definition of patience.
Webster's?
Yeah, I think it's Webster. Patience, the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset.
So basically something that you have control over,
I mean, do we ever truly have control over anything?
but it's a choice that you make. The conscious choice.
To be patient?
Yeah.
If you're saying it's a capacity, so the way they define it, right? The capacity to accept or tolerate delay,
Yeah.
that comes with a sense of maturity. And that's you saying, I'm okay with waiting.
You're accepting it. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily give you control. It just says, at least from my perspective, it's more of a, I accept that I don't have control as well.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, for example, the start of this podcast, right? I didn't wait. I was patient, but I was patient and said I'm going to do this once things are set up in a way that I like them. But I didn't just wait around, because if I was waiting around, probably would have still not done it.
Because you know, this is something that has been on your mind, right? And
Yeah.
it's been something that you've been wanting to do. You just haven't had the opportunity to pursue it nor the time.
Yeah.
So that definitely makes sense. And you know, and I really appreciate you looking up the actual definition of it.
Yeah.
So we want to talk a little bit more about the next phase of your life. Now that, you know, you're finished with school, that's all said and done. You know, you're practicing medicine in your residency program. You're, you know, a successful young black man, single. What's going on?
Why are you like this, man?
Let the listeners know.
What do you mean what's going... What? What is this turned into? Yo, didn't you just recently move in with your girlfriend? What was that like? How do you get to... I've always wondered, man, because check this out. I've seen so much, and sometimes, sure, it works out. Sometimes it doesn't work out. How do you get to a point where you feel comfortable enough to say, all right, I want to share like a residence with my significant other? I don't know. Maybe I'm conservative.
Yeah.
Because the way I grew up, right, and our traditional values is like you get to that point when you're either close to getting married or after you get married.
Yeah, that's definitely a fair question. I mean, there wasn't a specific point, right? That's definitely a fair question. There wasn't a specific point where I was just like, or we were like, hey, let's move in together, right? It kind of happened more so naturally, you know, just hanging out, spending more time together, right? For us, it was more so she had roommates, I didn't, right? So she was spending more time at my place. And slowly it turned into like, you know, a couple days, into like 4 or 5 days, into basically like every day. And then at that point, it was just like, yo, like, why are you like, you know, paying rent at your place, right? Why don't you just like basically like live over here, right? And it also turns out that her lease is ending in January. So, you know, kind of things worked out.
Are you scared at all
What do you mean?
about a big